Jessica. Welcome to Gather Together Homestead. I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about the eggs that you're consuming. If you're not consuming farm fresh eggs, I wanted to talk to you about some things you might want to consider. So before we owned our own chickens, I would sometimes go buy local farm fresh eggs, but most generally I was after convenience and I would just buy what was at the grocery store. And a lot of times I would spend a little extra money on eggs that said things like cage free, or maybe they said something like free range. And then even more times often than not, maybe I just bought regular good old eggs. And things I didn't know that I do now, you might find very important. So I wanted to share it with you if you have just a minute. So when you buy eggs at the store and they say cage free, do you know what that means? Basically what that means is that a typical chicken cage at a mass production facility is going to be the size of about 8.5 by 11. That's no bigger than your printer paper. So cage free just means that they're not kept to a cage. They're able to move about the facility and not be stuck in that cage. But how many chickens are in that facility? Do they really get to move around much? I don't think so. Did you know that free range? In my mind, I'm thinking of chickens that are roaming about in some type of a thing like we have set up here. They're still in an enclosed, confined area for safety purposes, but getting to move about. That's not what it means when you buy your eggs at the grocery store. Those eggs are coming again from your mass production type facility. Free range just simply means, again, not in a cage, able to move about with a lot of other chickens, but they might be able to see the light of day. Maybe there is a window in the facility or a door. Maybe they do get to go outside, but maybe it's a really small area. So they're not necessarily getting to be your typical God-designed chicken, scratching and pecking and foraging. They're still side by side, cooped up like this. Those are things I didn't know. But what I also didn't know is that once those eggs are collected, they're washed, and they're also sprayed with a sanitizer. A chemical sanitizer is sprayed on those eggs. Now, I couldn't prove that this gets into the eggs. I'm sure there's studies about it. I have not researched that. But in my mind, being conscious of what I'm putting in my body and what I'm supplying for my family to eat, I wonder if that sanitizer is leaching into that egg that I would be feeding us. I don't know. It's a concern to me, and maybe it is to you. Did you also know that those store-bought eggs have a shelf life of 5 weeks? So let's talk about that 5 weeks. That 5 weeks is going to start from when that egg was laid, or maybe even when it was collected. Maybe that was the same day. But they're going to have at least 1 to 3 days to get from the facility that the egg was collected from to the grocery store. Then once it's at the grocery store, it may sit on that shelf in the refrigerator aisle maybe 30 days. So your 5 weeks is now really small. I'm not as crazy about those store-bought eggs anymore. And now that we raise our own chickens, I can tell you what the benefits are. So our chickens are technically free ranging right now. They are in an enclosure. Now, we let ours out during the summer when we have leaves on. It offers them a little more protection from the owls and from the hawks and things that like to swoop down and get them quickly. You don't have to let them out, but we do. It's nice for them because they get to forage, but they're also consuming insects that we don't want here. So it's a double bonus in that regard. But again, freely ranging. So they're consuming high quality feed. They are freely ranging, eating insects and pecking and scratching and acting as a normal chicken. So what does that mean for the egg that you're going to consume? When you're consuming an egg that comes from a hen like that, you're getting a more nutrition-packed egg. So eggs are already going to have vitamins and things like that in them naturally, but these eggs that are farm fresh are going to have lower cholesterol. They're going to have less saturated fat. They're also going to have higher amounts of vitamin A, E, and vitamin D, and they're also going to be higher in omega-3 fatty acids and beta carotene. So if you're a health conscious person consuming eggs for health reasons, to be on a healthier diet, are you really doing yourself a lot of good by buying a store-bought egg? It sounds like you might want to gravitate towards farm fresh eggs. The other thing to consider is the shelf life of your farm fresh eggs that you're consuming. Did you know that when a chicken gets ready to lay her egg, the hen's body will produce a covering over that egg called a bloom? This is a protective covering that protects that egg from bacteria, harmful bacteria like salmonella that we hear so much about. And so if you aren't washing your eggs, which let me show you some unwashed eggs. For those of you who don't have chickens quite yet, it might sound a little scary, or somebody who maybe buys eggs at the grocery store all the time and has never consumed or considered having their own chickens to have farm fresh eggs. An unwashed egg kind of sounds scary. Chickens are kind of dirty, but let me show you. These were just collected within the last day or two from our homestead. These are unwashed. We grab them, put them in the basket, and they sit right on the counter. Or if we're going to store them for longer, then we go ahead and put them in their egg cartons and put them in a cold place. So just like this, these eggs can be stored on your counter once you've collected them and not washed them for 2 to 4 weeks. Or if you put them in your refrigerator, they're good there for 3 to 6 months. So that's a no-brainer right there. You have such a longer shelf life for your farm fresh eggs, and they're nutrition packed. What more could you ask for? Now, having chickens, if you don't currently, could also sound like a daunting task. I'm here to tell you that chickens are not a hard animal to raise. They don't take a lot of space. They don't require a whole lot, really, and they produce a wonderful thing for us. And depending on how many eggs you want would all depend on how many chickens you have. So if you don't consume a ton of eggs, you may not need a ton of chickens. Even then, you still wouldn't need a ridiculous amount for one family. We will post a video here very soon about kind of maybe like a chicken raising 101. What all is entailed in raising your own chickens? How much space is required? What kind of attention do they need? We'll make sure to upload that because I would love to encourage everybody who's considering a homestead, or maybe if you can't have a homestead due to lack of space, at least considering raising their own chicken, to have their own farm fresh eggs. This is just one step that's simple and quick. It's not expensive, but one step towards self-sufficiency, something you can provide comfortably and easily for your family and know exactly what you're getting. Thank you so much for watching, and be watching for uploads to come. Subscribe to our channel so you're alerted immediately. Thanks.